Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for our webinar, Appspace for Zoom Rooms, a powerful collaboration that takes idle meeting room screens and turns them into dynamic digital signage, allowing you to broadcast important information and engaging content when meeting rooms aren't in use. My name is Lee DeLine, and I am the Director of Partner Marketing here at Appspace, the world's leading workplace experience platform for employees. I'm joined by David Fleck, our Senior Director of Product and Partner Marketing, and our friend from Zoom, Dr. Lance Ford, an educator on the Zoom Rooms platform. We're proud to partner in this webinar with Zoom, a leading global cloud-based video conferencing platform that connects people for virtual meetings, webinars, and live collaboration through audio, video, and screen sharing capabilities. So we'll give a few minutes for people to join before we really get started. But in the meantime, obviously, just a few quick housekeeping items. Cameras and mics will be off, but that doesn't mean you can't participate. There's an area for questions on the right-hand side. So we'll be taking time to answer those questions at the end of the webinar. So please participate, ask away with those questions. And there's also a chat. So jump in at any time with comments. In fact, why not now? We love it when people say hello, so please feel free to say hi from wherever you are in the world. And with that, I'll turn it over to David Fleck to kick us off.
Great. Thanks, Lee. I was just telling everybody I'm from Texas. I was getting the chat started there for a little bit. So, although, as you can tell, it's a rainy day here in Texas, so it's a little bit darker in here. So bear with me. Hopefully I won't float away a little bit later. So just before we jump into today's topic, I do want to introduce a little bit more about who's speaking today, just so you know where we're coming from, who we are. So I am David Fleck. I am our Senior Director of Partner Marketing and Product Marketing here at Appspace. So I get to work alongside of a lot of our partners and then understand how our products integrate and work together, which is exactly what we're going to talk about today. I am a self-proclaimed technology geek. I love kind of looking to see how technology can solve some of the problems, both professionally and for our customers, but I do a lot of it at home. I have a fully functioning smart home, maybe to the chagrin of my wife at times, but I do like playing with that a little bit. And just our little fun fact, my current TV binge is the show Slow Horses. Highly recommend for anybody that hasn't seen that one, give it a shot. So, Dr. Lance, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thanks so much, David. Everybody, welcome to Southeast Oklahoma. I'm Lance, and yes, David, it is raining here, and I'm thinking you're handing that up to me. I think it's blowing up in my direction for you guys. I'm in a school in a rural part of our state, Southeast, and this school uses a Zoom all day, every day. We're going to talk some about that. In fact, I'm in the process of deploying a really nice high-end room here at the school right now. The reason I'm here today is as a part of my Zoom responsibility, we use digital signage across campus, David. In every classroom, between classes, there's content, kind of like what's rolling over my screen right now. And it's happening between classes, it's happening in the halls, it's happening in the cafeteria, happening in the gymnasium. I'm really so excited to be partnering with Appspace from a Zoom perspective because of the flexibility that you guys bring, the high-end graphics, the stuff that's already templatized. And so I'm really excited to have this conversation with you. My wife and I have just finished the season that's currently available of Only Murders in the Building. I didn't know if we were going to make another season, but it looks like the teaser, for those of you who've seen it, the finger hits the gate. So we're going to make it back to the building for next season. Dave, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, great to be here. I love that show too as well. And I think your take on how you use Appspace and Zoom Rooms together is going to be great for everybody beyond just in an education standpoint. I know you've got a lot of points today that are going to go beyond just what you can do in a school setting that'll apply anywhere in any type of setting. So that's great. I can't wait to hear that. But before that, unfortunately, you do have to listen to me just for a little bit. I promise I will get to Dr. Ford here as soon as we can. But we are going to start with, I'm just going to set the stage a little bit. I want to talk a little bit of kind of that underlying cost of the underutilized meeting room tech. What do we mean by that? And how is it affecting you at your organization? then yes, we will turn it over. We will get quickly out of my portion over to Dr. Ford for a live demo and let him kind of show you Appspace for Zoom Rooms and some things that you can do with it. We'll come back, we'll talk a little bit about what you might have for next steps and how you can get started quickly. And then after that, we'll have a nice Q&A and wrap up at the end. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the cost of the underutilized meeting room tech and what that means to you. So I first wanted to start with this image. Does this look familiar to some people on the call? I'm sure it does. You've got your conference room somewhere in the office that nobody's using, and everything's off. It's dark, and nobody wants to go in there. It's not very inviting, and it just kind of becomes a black hole that you walk past quite often. And so what's happening there? Well, first of all, you have wasted resource. You see that big TV, you see that big display in there, that's just sitting idle between meetings. And that's a very expensive digital billboard that is not being used for anybody at that time. The other thing is a cost here, and it's not a monetary cost, but it's tech confusion. So some people may not want to go into that room because they don't even know how to use the tech, and that's understandable. Not everybody's in the office all day, every day anymore, and so you're getting wasted time for people that get into the office or get into the conference room, the tech, and they're trying to figure out, how do I connect my laptop? How do I turn it on? How do we get the people that aren't in on the calls and on the screen? And then inevitably it results in an IT ticket. This doesn't work, that doesn't work, I don't understand it, when really everything works. They just didn't know how to use it, and it's probably a lot easier. So that tech confusion leads to a lot of wasted time and a lot of unnecessary IT tickets. And then lastly, there's just untapped potential in that meeting space. Meeting spaces are supposed to be used for productivity, right? For meetings, collaboration. You want people in there using them. That's the point. And especially in today's world where not everybody's coming into the office every day. You have to have a reason to come to the office. And most of the time, that reason is to collaborate with others that you don't get to see in your home office, like where I am today. And so you want your meeting spaces to be those productivity hubs, not a ghost town, and not something that's just not inviting for somebody to be in. So let's look at that and compare that to this. This, to me, is a much different view of what the conference room could be. And really what we did is we lit up that screen. We lit up that screen with information between meetings, and now we've really changed what's going to happen. So now the future of the meeting space looks more like this area that's going to boost engagement. So now that blank screen and that dimly lit room that you saw before now turns into this communication tool where people are walking by, and we'll talk about this, but you can see on the screen, you've got social interactions, you've got QR codes that are asking you to interact. They're asking you to come into the room and use it. And so that engagement is gonna get boosted just by turning on that screen and making that look like an inviting space. The other thing is now we're gonna keep everybody informed with important company news. Not everybody has digital signage all throughout their organization or throughout their workplace. It can be expensive to get that up and running, and maybe you're just not there yet. But a lot of people do have these displays already in their conference rooms. And so this is a great place, like we said before, that untapped potential that you can light up these screens, and now you've got this communication hub that you didn't have before. You've got a new channel for company news and events, and you've got a place to put information about the room itself. And so that last part, what that's really going to do is now you're going to maximize your ROI on that piece of hardware. You've built out this beautiful room, and it's half the time it's not being used. Well, you're not getting the maximum value out of that, what you spent on that hardware. Like I said, some of this stuff can be expensive. And so by adding this new use case for that display you already have, now you've unlocked and you've gotten more value out of that piece of hardware with Appspace and Zoom Room. So again, we're really maximizing the potential of what our meeting rooms can be. And so I just want to kind of give an idea of, all right, well, that's great. What kind of information and content would we even put on a screen? Nobody's in there, right? And that's the what I hear a lot of times is, why do I want to put content on a screen in a room that nobody's in an empty room? And that's a good question. But if you think about it this way, a lot of times you're walking by, start with just the branding and the company culture stuff, and you just see that as you walk in. That's just another way to just brand your office space, and show company culture type stuff where you're doing welcoming a new hire. Just that passive information that as people walk by, they see it, and that elevates their experience already from being in there. It's great for event planners, showing upcoming events and informations that people walk by. Oh, I just need to, or as they walk into the room, they see that information. They can scan the QR code and get information about that event that's coming up. This one I think is huge, is the tech support. And I talked about it a second ago, when you have that blank screen and it's a dark room that nobody knows how to use the information. Sometimes there's a piece of paper in there that it says, okay, these are the steps to get everything turned on and running. How often does that thing could just walk off? The cleaning crew gets rid of it, and now nobody knows how to use it. Think about this: you put up on the screen, you've got the information about how to start using that room, 1, 2, 3, and people understand it a lot easier. That's going to reduce that tech confusion and reduce those unneeded IT support questions. Maybe you have guests coming in, right? That's why you're there. That's why the conference room is being used. Well, you can put up a nice welcome message to them before the meeting starts, and now that's a personalized welcome to maybe it's a prospect or a key client that you have in today visiting. How much better is that experience for when they see their brand and their information on when they walk in? So lots of that kind of stuff you can do, but this is why I think there are a lot of different use cases and reasons to light up those screens. And again, you already have the hardware, you already have Zoom rooms running. Why not take advantage of this? And so I'm not going to get into this step by step, and I think Dr. Ford will probably go into this a little bit more than I will, but real quick and simple. Yeah, how does this work? It's pretty easy. You download the Appspace for Zoom app and the Zoom marketplace. You can create and manage your content in Appspace. We've got a lot of tools for you to do that, including some AI tools to make it even easier. You go register that Zoom device in Appspace, and then you just publish the channel that you created and publish that content directly to the Zoom Rooms device. And anytime that Zoom Rooms device goes into idle, boom, Appspace digital signage shows up, and now you're talking to the people that are walking by. So pretty easy. What you're going to get from that, some key features I just want to touch on. I got one more slide after this, and then I'll hand it over. But all of Appspace's functionality is supported here. So we've got our normal playlist channels. We have what we call advanced channels that give you a little bit more control. We've got multi-zone layouts, which is great. Excuse me. We have multi-zone layouts, which is really nice for this use case, so that you can have those room instructions always showing with other information running in a different zone. You can have videos running in low bandwidth mode. And then again, like I said before, you can see kind of in this picture here, we have the social interactions and QR codes, so that anything that's happening in your intranet can be shown on your digital signage as well. And that starts to connect that physical and digital workplace, which is great. But just to be clear, all the Zoom Rooms information stays persistent on the screen, just like you normally would. So your room name, the date and time, all of that information still stays there. You can turn that off if you'd like to, but a lot of people will choose to keep that on. And the only caveat is it has to be a Zoom Room supported device for this to work, but I think that is probably pretty clear. And a last thing here is the Appspace intelligence. Yes, we have a lot of AI built into our product. Is it going to be a game changer for you that are creating your content in different places and then uploading them into Zoom Rooms, maybe, or another option? This is a great way where we can automatically generate really beautiful digital signage content that with the text, the background, the visuals, animations, and can get that up very easily using some of our AI tools. And so, what are you gonna love about this? IT, you got your reduced hassle and support for requests coming in, right? It's a native integration. You put those on-screen instructions up there, and all of a sudden, people aren't coming to you all the time asking you how to get it done. For you comms folks out there, like we said before, this is a new channel for you, so you're gonna get better reach, better engagement with all the updates and information that you're trying to get out to your customers, for your employees, and it's where they already are. For your facilities folks out there, now you've maximized that investment, right? You're getting better ROI on the hardware that you've baked into your facilities everywhere that you have a Zoom Rooms device. HR, now you can have a place where you're kind of celebrating company culture in meeting areas. Again, you've got places for talking about new hires or just general branding and culture announcements and events. So new channels unlocked for you. And for just all of our employees, now they feel like they know what they're doing. They feel connected. They're connected to the brand. They're connected to the culture, and they're connected to the tech. And so it's a lot better experience for them. So coming to the office feels a little bit better, feels a little bit different, and is a reason to go more than just sitting at home in your home office. You have a better experience, and you're more productive now when you go to the office. Okay, that ends my part. I'm going to hand it over. I'm going to stop sharing and get to the exciting part of today's webinar.
That was exciting, David. So that's the coolest part, right? Because, I mean, when you're thinking about digital signage inside your organization, again, whether you're in a university, a K-12, a business environment, wherever it is, I love your analogy of it really helping drive the culture, right? Because it's those passive moments where we walk by something and we're made to feel a part of something bigger than ourselves, that digital signage really draws us in, especially when we're recognizing those accomplishments, we're meeting our targets and goals and able to point that stuff out and draw attention to folks. So I don't want to belabor that, but what I do want to show you guys is how easy is it really to get this concept of Zoom and Appspace hooked together, all right, made into one experience. So I'm going to just share my screen real quickly. Let's do this. And we're going to start over on the Zoom side of the house. For those of you who have never experienced Zoom's URL, logged in as my organization, you can see I'm here as the school, logged in. First thing we see is our profile, and all of our personal information is here. Now for you Zoom admins, and if I've got anybody in the crowd today, go ahead, take the 30 seconds right this second, minimize me, open up a web browser, log in, because I want you to see a couple of things, all right? I want you to scroll down underneath the admin area where it says room management and Zoom rooms. Now I'm opening up our Zoom rooms here for you. You see all of our buildings here on campus, and each building has different floors. So if I open this one up, you'll see there's several floors listed underneath. I open that building, I can see all those devices. The great part about Zoom rooms and getting this thing off the ground really quickly is if you have one Zoom room license, right? You have the ability to provision up to 250,000 screens of content. Zoom is not charging you for that, all right? So this is the part where you come to Appspace and you say, I basically, for the purposes of us, have unlimited screens. I'd like to differentiate content. I'd like to have engaging content. I'd like to have enriching content. I'd like to not have to manually start from scratch every time I build content, okay? That's the power of Appspace. Now, how do we get Appspace from this Appspace engagement into this Zoom experience? David mentioned it, but I want to reiterate. Do me a huge favor right this second. I'm going to copy it, okay? And I'm going to try to put this down in chat. Let's see, where is my chat tool? There it is. Boom, boom, boom. I want you to click on this link right here, okay? When you click on that link, you're going to end up at marketplace.zoom.us. It's right here. This is what you're seeing on your screen. All right. And what I'd love for you to type in is Appspace. Now, when you type in Appspace, you're going to see 3 different options for the purposes of today. And you see how richly these two companies are coming together here. Okay. for the purposes of today, I want you to choose, at least you're exploring, okay, Appspace digital signage. Here I go, bang. Now you can see that I've already got it approved. It's already in there, but this is going to give you all the information you need to know, as well as screenshots, an overview, documentation, your support information. It's all right here in one spot. Now, in order to deploy it, obviously you have to have the rights to be able to do that. So if you're not the administrator there of your Zoom account, definitely reach out to those folks and say, hey, I'd like to play with, I'd like to experience a little bit of Appspace and see how that works with our Zoom room environment. This is where they would need to go to enable it. All right. Now, I'm going to go back into I've already done that. Okay, so I'm going back into my Zoom portal. I'm going to choose a Zoom room appliance. Now, lots of different companies make appliances. The picture that David showed you was a beautiful Logi Rally Bar. I've got some technology from HP Poly in here. I've got technology from a company called Neat. The biggest room that I'm building right this second actually has PC, Windows-based PC, Zoom rooms in them. So there's a lot of different flavors of Zoom room. Don't get wrapped around that. What we're going to do is we're going to choose one of them, and we're going to choose that particular room and hit edit. Now, once I've chosen edit, I have a lot of tabs, but one of them says right here, digital signage. Now, unfortunately, David, at this point, this particular room is that dark screen. I mean, look, it even kind of is depressing to look at it right here. It's literally just saying, hey, add content. There's nothing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the add content button. Now, you do have in Zoom the ability to upload manually some files if you want to, but I would strongly encourage you, as you're exploring rich, engaging media that's visually appealing, Appspace is the place to go. And it's right down here under apps. I'm going to click it. I'm going to hit Appspace. I'm going to add it. So now I have added Appspace digital signage. Inside this place here, it's going to tell me this is how long that content will play. I can schedule that content. David mentioned this idea of a top banner, you know, where you see the room name, the time, a sharing key. Those are conversations beyond today's meeting. But what I do want you to know is you can turn that on, just like David said. You can uncheck these boxes if you don't want that information up there and hit save. So whether you're putting this in the hallway or whether you're putting this in a conference room or a business boardroom or a classroom, this is really how easy it is to do. And from a Zoom perspective, you can do that at the room level. You can do it at the floor level. You can do it at the building level. Some of you have multiple cities that you deal with. You may do it city by city and provision Appspace so that that content goes exactly where it needs to. Now, once you've done that, let's go over here real quickly to my Appspace library. You're going to see underneath your devices a device added. I haven't actually gone through the registration price. You just watch me do just that little part. And so what's going to happen on your screen is you're going to get a 6-digit code. So on your Zoom room, there will be a 6-digit code. You type in that 6-digit code, and now you have a listed device in Appspace. From there, guys, honestly, the sky is the limit. Let me go here real quick to the library. You see, I've got a countdown to Christmas break. Every kid wants to know when Christmas break is happening, okay? I've got quotes, dynamic quotes that will be updated. I've got a Google slide. Why do you have a Google slideshow in here? Well, we have some students as a part of our media team who document things and put content out, updates for seniors, special events, sporting events. Look over my shoulder. It's happening right now on that screen, okay? All of those things are here. I have some videos. And David, I got to be saying a huge thank you to Appspace for this, because that low bandwidth video mode, I mean, it has saved us tons in quality of service for other things that we need to run on the network at the same time. So thank you for that low bandwidth video mode. And even things like your weather radar, right? So the ability to have a radar that's specific to your particular region. I just typed in 74940, that's Howe, Oklahoma. This is the weather radar. And now that's a part of the list of content in my library that I have. So I've added all this content to my library. Then I simply go and add it to a channel. So I've got my channels here. Let's add a little of that content from my library. What do I want to add? Let's add the countdown to Christmas, and let's add the weather radar because it is raining today, like cats and dogs, to David's point. And now my signs are dynamically updated in real time with that content. In fact, I'm going to go here to publish real quick, copy that, and show you what it would look like if it was on a screen in your room. First thing that would happen is you get a little Appspace update, and then the content would start loading. Here it comes. Now, if you want to play along, you're welcome to play along. Lance, I want to play along. Okay, here you go. It's in the chat. You're welcome to click on it on yours. First thing you're going to see was the first thing in that channel, then you'll see the second thing in the channel, then you'll see the third thing in the channel. And it will loop that channel content for you. But we also have the ability to put it in a web browser. So I wanted you guys to see all of this because it's really about flexibility. And with Zoom rooms, you have the power of the interactive Zoom meeting. But today it's what happens between the meetings. How welcome are you when you come in? How much of a culture do you feel a part of? And guys, we've provisioned that like in under 5 minutes. I just walked you through. I talked a whole lot. PhD, I have a PhD, and that just stands for piled higher and deeper in Southeast Oklahoma. So sorry about that. But I wanted you to see step by step how easy it was to get that content out there. Now, I am looking for questions as a part of this. I don't see anything yet. Let me stop that sharing. David, did that seem simple enough to you as far as getting the information out to those Zoom rooms?
Yeah, I think you did a fantastic job of showing that. And it is as simple as that. And I think some of the things to point out, and when you had it pulled up there, is Appspace provides a lot of we have a lot of templates for what we call cards and of what to put on there. So some of what you showed were some of the templatized cards that were very simple. All you had to do was type in your zip code, and that weather radar came up and will always be updated. So I think this is some of the power of adding Appspace digital signage to Zoom rooms, because like you said before, yes, you can do some digital signage already built into the Zoom rooms at the basic level. And you can upload something and things like that. But if you are going to be putting in something that's a little bit more dynamic and a little bit easier to use, that's the power here. So some of these are live feeds, like you said. You've got the quotes feed, which I think you were pulling in, which is great. That pulls in a daily quote for you automatically. You could put in an RSS feed there, like you see. There's a lot in there. And then at the very top, if you'll scroll up just for a second there.
Yes, sir.
The one, I'm glad you pulled this up. That top left corner is something that's the purple box there. Kickstart your cards with AI.
Yeah.
This is what I was talking about before. This is a great way to get started where, hey, maybe you don't want to use one of our templates. You just want to use AI to do something for you. This is where you can just put in a prompt, tell it exactly what kind of information or what kind of content you want on your screen. It's going to do that. We can try it live here and see.
That's
see
so
what
much
it
you want
looks
me to
like.
put in here, buddy.
Oh, prompted to say that you've got, next week, all hands meeting coming up on November 25th.
All right.
Just a simple, easy prompt here, and let's see what it does. I just think this is fun to see. It may take a second, but what it's going to be able to do, it's going to say, okay, this is the correct way to lay this out. This is the best background look and feel for that. It'll take some of the information from your prompt as far as like the date and all that, and it'll put that in there. And then you'll have the ability to make some edits or adjust things as well. But then you can publish that directly to your channel, like we said before. So you see, wow. it took the announcement, all hands meeting, join us for a company-wide meeting on November 25th. It looks like it's still trying to generate an image there. There you go.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's, yeah.
I just start to say, David, and this is the stuff that takes hours if you're trying to do this manually. And again, I'm glad that we have Zoom rooms, and I'm glad that Zoom rooms does support digital signage. But this is, somebody's going to Canva, somebody's going to some editing tool, building this, exporting this, uploading this, but just throw it through Appspace and let AI do it. How beautiful is that? It's awesome.
Yeah. And not to mention, the editing tools, you can manage your branding so that this is always in the right colors. If we did a more detailed prompt, we could have really dialed that in. That was the most basic prompt, and you can see it did a great job doing something that looked very nice on a screen. So
It's awesome.
that's that's the power of connecting these, and why you might use something like Appspace above and beyond what's just built in with Zoom already.
That is great. And like I said, we've had media teams doing this sort of thing in the past, and there's so much information that we want to get out that it really becomes challenging to get it over the time hump. So thanks for pointing that out. I'll be honest with you. I hadn't played with that one yet, so that's cool.
Yeah, I know. I thought that might be good. It's always a little bit tricky to do a live AI demo, but hey, it worked out for us, so I like it. Well, good. Well, a couple things we just want to cover here as we're wrapping up is what we talked about. Let's just wrap up and kind of talk about Appspace for Zoom Rooms. Again, it is that built-in integration. You've seen that. This is a native integration. There's no uploading lists or sheets you have to fill out or downloads you have to do. It is just download the app, install the app, and then you're off and running. One thing to mention, actually, I'll probably mention on the next steps we talked about. We're going to be able to boost that engagement. You can already see the information that's running in there is going to invite people in. And we didn't show it specifically, but with the QR codes, those are automatically generated by Appspace. That's a setting. And so if you are using Appspace as your intranet as well, that's a great way to connect those two things so that you can have a little bit of the information on the screen, but then read the full info on your phone as you go by. And again, this is all about maximizing that ROI. We're going to get so much more out of the hardware that we already have. So what are you going to do? How are you going to try this out? What are your next steps for those that are in here? First, go to our interactive demo. I think Lee just posted that in the chat, actually. You can go to the interactive demo and try this out for yourself as far as walking through some of the steps that Dr. Ford just went through with us. If you don't have Appspace already, you can start with a free account. So you can go in, turn on Appspace for free. Anybody can do that. It's on our website. Sign up for a free account. You'll get 2 device licenses automatically with that you can then go and test out and connect to your Zoom rooms and just see how that works. So highly recommend doing that. It's a great way to try it. If you would like to go deeper and really want to know that, schedule some time with us. We'll go through a demo. And then there's a 2-page PDF that Lee is just now putting into the chat as well. Highly download that, share that. That's going to give you an idea of how it works, how to get started, and information, a little bit more information there. So with that, I think we're to any type of live Q&A. I know Lee, thank you for popping on. Questions that came in, anything for us?
Yeah, there's none in the chat yet, but everybody's still got time to put a few in, but we did receive a couple. So I've got 3 here. So
Okay.
one comment that came in was, I love the idea of showing social reactions. Can we moderate that? I want to make sure we don't accidentally display an inappropriate comment on the big screen in the boardroom.
Yeah. So when we talk about social interactions, comments aren't included in that. So it's the likes, the celebrations, the hearts, all the emoji interactions that would happen on a piece of content in your intranet or on your employee app. What we do is we show those on there as a counter. And so you can see when something is getting a lot of interaction, it's a way to go, oh, a lot of people are looking at that. What is that? I haven't seen that. So comments are included in that, and probably for a good reason.
Okay, great, thank you. Another one here. How quickly does the signage kick in when a meeting ends? Is the idle time configurable so that the signage doesn't accidentally pop up during a brief lull in a live meeting?
Absolutely.
That's good.
Let me take that one. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, David.
No, I was going to say the same thing. I think you could probably speak to that directly.
All right, let me try to share this real quick because I want you guys to see where this setting is. I don't want anybody to be spooked about this. I'm going to go into my. I'm back in the same place where we left off. We've added Appspace. I'm going to scroll down just here slightly, Lee. Okay, and there's a button here that says Display Period. And then it says Zoom meetings will override digital signage schedule and will restart from the first item on the content list. That's what I turn on. And then you can choose to meter how many minutes you want that content to start after the meeting ends and before the meeting is scheduled to begin. So if you're afraid that signage is going to run you right up to the rim, right up to the time, just crank this down just a little bit, right? Roll that up to about 2 minutes. And you can set it wherever you want. That lets people know, hey, yes, it's not just a digital signage screen that you're in front of. This is actually going to go live in 2 minutes. And of course, we're kind of spoiled here at the school. All of our rooms are set to automatically start. So our teachers, our admin team, they don't have to mash any buttons. They walk in, they sit down. About a minute before things start, the signage goes down. It pops up and says, this will automatically join this experience in 60 seconds. And then bang, away it goes. So yes, sir, it's not going to come up during a meeting, but that is where you make sure that you get the windows of time that you want for the show.
All right, I got one last question. So the explanations were great. Will this require, and so maybe this isn't a current Appspace user, will this require my IT team to install new hardware or any added software configurations?
No. No is the short answer to that. As far as the hardware goes, from a software configurations, I think you saw what it takes. I think just downloading the app, and I think Dr. Ford, you mentioned that you just have to make sure you have the right permissions to be able to manage that for your Zoom account, right?
That is correct. So from a Zoom perspective, the person who is going to go to marketplace.zoom.us does need to have the administrative rights to say, yeah, turn Appspace on, right? Yeah. But once Appspace is on, it's the same hardware you've already got. It's the Logi Rally Bar, it's the Neat Board, it's the D10, D7, it's the HP Poly X52 or 72. It's that Windows Mac compute Zoom room you built. Again, to me and David, it's potato on hardware. As long as we're running Zoom room and you've got Appspace, we're rocking and rolling that content out there for you.
I got to say, I did say at the beginning that I'm a self-proclaimed technology geek, but Dr. Ford, you are giving me a run for my money with just spouting those off easily. That's very impressive. Nicely done.
That was terrific.
Thank you, my friend. I have a good time here. Someday when we're all together, maybe you guys want to join us for that. We'll walk through and look at all these different Zoom rooms because there's 14 Zoom rooms. You're just seeing 2.5 over my shoulder in this space. So I'm kind of staying in a rotisserie, kind of keeping tan all year long.
Now, I've personally had the pleasure of seeing your full workspace, and it is terrific watching you present. And really, thank you both very much, David and Lance, for your time today. Your presentation was excellent. We'll be following up after this with the recording, so we'll have that out in the next couple of days. As well, in that recording, we'll add, included in the email, we're going to add all the links that we put in chat, so nobody has to worry too much about copying those now. We'll include those in the chat. And if you've got any other added questions or whatnot, just get them over to us. I can be reached at lee.deline@appspace.com, and I'll put that in the email as well. So looking forward, thank you again, and looking forward to anything that comes up afterwards with any questions or comments. Thanks very much for everybody that showed up today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Lee. Thanks,
Take care, everybody.